back to Everything Whiskey. I'm Callum.
I'm Sam.
Today we're having a look at Old Virginia 6-year-old bourbon.
Alrighty, so Old Virginia number 6. I did like some research, or at least I attempted to. There's nothing on this. Like I can't find anything. It's 6-year-old bourbon from Virginia. Yeah, so called Old Virginia. It's Kentucky straight bourbon from Kentucky. I don't understand the whole Virginia-Kentucky thing. Like,
Because they border
each other, but I don't know if there was.
I think.
if there was like initially some sort of land sharing or changing, and I don't know. Either way, it's called Old Virginia from Kentucky and it's bourbon. So there's not like anything interesting about this details wise anyway.
Is that at 40%? It's
for a cheap bourbon, like a super cheap. It was like $40, so that is super cheap.
That is
so
rare in Australia. Because normally they're 37% if they're
That's hilariously something that we actually are excited about when we find a budget bourbon, is that it's actually minimum.
We still get comments on the Buffalo Trace video going, you guys actually get it for 37? Like they think
No, that was, we get it for 40, but they get it for like 45, 46. Like we got the bare minimum, but they still get way better.
Whiskey then?
Like, there's a lot.
There's something, there's like big, Jim Beam probably.
Someone did comment though about the Buffalo Trace. They were just
we just get gypped for bourbons especially.
I don't understand why. We've talked about it before, but I don't understand why. If it's made in America, surely to be called bourbon, it has to be the same requirements for, like, apparently the legal requirements for bourbon only take place if it's sold in America, which makes no sense whatsoever. Anyway, I don't know about this one. It's a budget. I hope it's good because it's cheap.
I've seen it a lot.
40%.
Old Virginia, it's like got a pretty big name here in Australia.
Yeah. Also, sorry, we didn't film last week, did we?
There was no Friday video.
Right, yeah. So we only posted once. If you noticed, apologise. I got a new job and I was literally not even home. The hours were nuts. You can see I look horrendous. I'm so sunburned. My skin's already peeling.
This smells like a budget bourbon.
Yeah.
It smells very similar, like a Jim Beam, I would imagine.
It's got this, is it giving you this weird scotchy vibe? I'm getting like weird maltiness.
No.
Yeah, it's super sweet. A lot of that sweet, just like dusty corn sweetness. A bit of oak. Definitely banana, like the actual lolly, the candy, like musky banana. There's
a lot of liqueurs for Old Virginia in
this. Smells like a liqueur, honestly. It's
there's a lot of honey, apple, and there was another one that I saw in ours alone. So it's probably like is it Jimmy or Jack that do all the huge range of their baseline?
Jim do more, but I think
they both do
Jack do it a bit as well.
So I
think
imagine
Jim Beam's probably like, I normally see more Jim Beam stuff, but Jack definitely do it as well. I think all of the big guys do it.
But this kind of caters to it, like it's really sweet, friendly, approachable.
I'm not,
on the nose.
I'm not getting any of those nice dark caramelized notes is why I like bourbon. And look, this is 6 years old, which it's not like, if you come from Scotch, then it seems young. But for bourbon, that's actually pretty, reasonable. That's a respectable amount. But yeah, no, I'm getting no development when it comes to just like the deep dark kind of notes you get from bourbon. I'm not getting any caramelized sweetness. Not getting like deep dark fruits or the spices that you get, like a apple pie kind of like cinnamon and nutmeg stuff, like none of that. I'm just getting like flat, sweet, corny kind of like banana.
I'm getting the spices, but it's very, very like minute.
Yeah, I'm not getting it at all. It smells like almost Japanese, like the whiskey. Like it's like just kind of like floral sweetness. There's no point comparing this to something higher end. It's more like we might as well just compare to other budgets.
Is this the baseline, or is there?
I have no idea.
More.
I'd be surprised if there's one cheaper, but.
Why would you start with a 6-year-old as your baseline?
I don't know. They probably come from. It's probably a massive distillery. It's probably like Jim Beam. It's probably MGP or something. It's just like. They just spit out tons and it doesn't even make a difference whether it's 2 years old or 6 years old.
I'm just going to jump into the taste.
Got a cut on my lip and it's burning way more than it should.
Yeah, I've burned my mouth at lunch today and it really hurts.
This is sweet. It's already gone, by the way. Like I'm getting like. It's sweet, simple, then dry, then dead.
Yeah, when we review these cheaper bourbons, especially bourbons, my brain kind of does this filing cabinet system.
Yeah.
Where I don't compare to like more expensive things. I stay in that budget region.
I try, but then I'm just thinking like I know like there's way better bourbons, but I've spent more money on them. But I'm still comparing.
That's why I do it though.
Especially because we have it behind us. It's like I could easily just grab a better
Anything.
one.
When I look at you, I see them all.
Yeah, dude, that's the bourbon section, right?
But yeah, like in terms of budget bourbon, I think this has nice flavors, especially for mixing. This is probably where I'm coming from.
It's not offensive.
I'm mixing bourbon. There is some spice. It's got a lot of that oakiness.
I'm getting
banana.
I'm getting a weird like scotchy maltiness. Like the bourbon notes are really dull in this.
I have no idea where you're going from, to be honest.
I don't know. Maybe it's the other drinks I've had before. Maybe it's that Suntory stuff I had. But I honestly, I'm getting a lot of sweetness, a little bit of spice, like bitterness from the barrel. That's like pretty much it. I'm getting like kind of like a nuttiness. I'm stretching now for like the little kind of like I could be convinced into saying yes to these notes. Not I'm like getting them prominently. I get nuttiness, like a waxy bitter kind of walnut. Banana is like mostly on the nose, less on the taste. I don't know about the
cracked pepper. I get cracked pepper.
I'm getting a weird like a weird earthy, malty, grassy kind of note with this one. The nose smells better. It smells sweeter and richer. It's quite thin on the palate.
Oh.
What?
Wait, this isn't bourbon. What's the bourbon rules?
It says bourbon.
What's the bourbon rules? It has to be bottled in America, doesn't it?
Where's the bottle?
Bottled in France from American oak.
France?
Bottled in France from American oak.
Distilled in oak casks. What do you mean distilled into? This is such weird language use. Distilled in oak casks. I mean, aged in oak casks. The still wasn't made of a barrel. Unless it was, but I highly doubt it. Good job. Distilled in oak casks, bottled in France from American bourbon. So France imported it.
So they imported the liquor to bottle and then
they sent it France. Does that still technically? I think it has to leave. I thought
or is that
it had
Scottish?
I know it is Scotch, but I thought that was bourbon as well. It had to leave America in
the bottle to be called bourbon.
I don't know. Bourbon, I used to think I knew everything about like the legality behind the rules and stuff until we started getting weird 37% bourbons.
Yeah.
And now French
just kind of goes
out
the window.
Bourbon, what? I have no idea. I want to read the little blurb. It's going to be all horse shit, but...
Wait, does that say imported by it?
What?
Imported Old Virginia.
Yeah, so it's...
What does that even... Yeah, so they...
I don't know. Old Virginia straight bourbon whiskey elaborated in the heart of Kentucky. What does that mean? God, this is what I both love and hate about budget bourbons and just budget whiskeys in general. Like their little story, their little blurb is just filled with the most horrendously like generalized kind of language that means nothing. Like it's just fluff.
Words.
It's just word marketing fluff. Straight bourbon whiskey elaborated in the heart of Kentucky under the supervision of the United States federal government. Made from the best grains, the mash is fermented and distilled in respect of the Kentucky tradition. The mash is fermented and distilled. That's that's literally any liquor ever.
It also says on the front
in respect to the Kentucky
tradition. It says
tradition.
product of the US. Which I understand.
So it's made in US, imported to France, and then sold and bottled there. So it's a French brand, but I would like to know the distillery, because if it's a French brand, but
surely that would cost way too much money.
I don't.
They don't just bottle it in America. Guaranteed by the US federal government to be bottled in another country.
That it was a bourbon when it left. Like what is?
To be enjoyed on the rocks or in cocktails.
I don't know, we've done a bit of debating and we're probably going to cut most of it out.
I'll put some of it in here because it was interesting.
Well, that's some of it. The conversation itself is interesting. It's weird. The language is super general and vague, but also like kind of not relevant.
I love the labeling. It's like, product of the USA, and then on the side it goes, imported!
Imported.
It doesn't even, like...
Well, it's like,
it's like, I understand it, but why? And why try and hide it? Like, why don't you just be open and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I'm just more confused.
Why is it so cheap? I'm so confused.
I'm just more confused about like the language they used. Like, it's whiskey that's been elaborated in the heart of Kentucky.
It sounds like a Frenchman's gone into Google Translate and tried to
create like just a general generic kind of whiskey blurb. I don't know. It's Old Virginia Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
I want to know if you can get this outside.
But it's.
Because I couldn't see an American.
But it's a French brand that's importing it from America and then selling around the world, is what I understand. That's what makes sense.
But surely you'd be pissed off as like an American in like the whiskey sector and this is happening.
Well, that's the thing. As you just said, I wonder if it's sold anywhere else. I genuinely think that Australia and New Zealand are the only ones that actually get this kind of weird shit. Like, I know you get shady bottling and labeling everywhere, but I think that this is genuinely probably legal just because of the ambiguity about like our laws.
It's probably in America. It's probably bottled in America. I would imagine.
But they're gonna. Well,
but
I don't know. Why would they sell it in America? A French brand.
No, but that's what maybe they've just like hired this French company to bottle it to export it to all these other countries.
A lot of places like will go to MGP and they'll go, hey, we're sourcing your whiskey, but they won't it won't be sent to their home country. Like, it won't be across the world, you know.
Yeah.
They'll obviously like bottle it and do all of that being based in America, even though it's not an American company. So I don't know if that's the case, but it was said it was bottled in
France.
In France, which
I can only imagine that's for Australian Kiwis, to be honest.
I don't know. It's weird. If you understand the weirdness about the kind of stuff we keep running into here with American whiskey, please let us know. It might be a really simple thing that like makes a lot of sense to you that we're just confused about for no reason because we're idiots. But the language used on here is so unclear. I have no idea what this is. I assume it's bourbon that's just being sold under by a company that's not from America. They're a French company, import the whiskey and sell it under their own brand label.
I reckon it's that, but only for internationals.
Yeah.
I reckon people in America, you would see bottled in the US.
American, they would just buy
so
it.
It might be cheaper for, I have no idea.
I don't know. But there's no way they would sell it in America if they're shipping from America to France back to America.
That's why I'm saying
that would logistically make no sense. But if that was the case where they had an area, they had a base, they were based in America as well, so they could sell it in America, wouldn't they just sell it from America where it's made instead of sending it to France for no reason?
Let us know if we can even buy this.
It's weird. I doubt it. I doubt anyone can buy it except for Australia and New Zealand. I reckon we're just getting gypped as usual.
I'm kind of interested from the European side. Let us know if you can A, buy it, and 2, if it's easy to find. Because if it's being bottled in France, theoretically the distribution should be amazing in Europe.
Yes.
So let us know if you can even buy it. Because I'm just surprised if it's gone through, if it's made in America, bottled in France, then sent out here, how can it be $40? That's what I'm trying to get my head around, mainly. It's like, how can it be so cheap if it's gone through all these processes that seem unnecessary?
That's right, this up. Alrighty, if you like this episode of Everything Whiskey, leave us a like. If you want to see future episodes from us, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you do, we'll see you next one.
Cheers!